After about a year of Finland being in NATO, we've witnessed both saber-rattling and threats from their neighbor to the east about why it is a big mistake. Today I'm going to show you that it really isn't, and why attacking Finland, with or without Finland receiving NATO aid, is a really bad idea.
Hello, welcome back again. If you're new, I am Loren and it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for always tuning in. And to my internet subscribers, I say thank you so much, and don't forget that I love you guys so much. All right, today we'll be looking at another Finnish video. This one is titled Why Invading Finland Would Be a Big Mistake. Yeah, I can really relate to that. I could imagine, because these people, they are so patriotic. They are so eager. They are so committed into protecting their own. They are so united into fighting for themselves. Their security is tough, and evading them would definitely be a great mistake of a lifetime. I really can't wait to check this video out with you guys. So sit back, relax, and let's check this video out. And don't forget to let me know what you think about this video right in the comment section. And if you have more details about this, please, I really can't wait to read them. Let me know. Put them all down there right in the comment section. So without further delay, let's check this out.
After about a year of Finland being in NATO, we've witnessed both saber-rattling and threats from their neighbor to the east about why it is a big mistake. Today I'm going to show you that it really isn't, and why attacking Finland, with or without Finland receiving NATO aid, is a really bad idea. Let's go. In December 2023, with Finland having formally joined NATO, long-table aficionado Vladimir Putin understood that Finland has put an end to working their geopolitical policies around Russia's wants and needs. In his usual bluster, he threatened Finland with unspecified problems, and later announced that he'll put both weapon systems and more troops along Finland's 1,300-kilometer border with Russia. In this video, we'll look at why Putin attacking Finland, even without Finland receiving NATO support, would be a disaster for Russia. No other European nation is as well prepared for such an event as Finland, and their military strategy is focused on doing what they did in the Winter War, which is to inflict such massive casualties on Russian forces that it would be a non-starter. I'd like to note that even if you think that you should go into the comments and say, "but nukes," that mad theory has stopped nukes for as long as more than one nation had them. And why would Russia nuke a country so close to their biggest population centers, causing irradiation in St. Petersburg and Moscow? In order to estimate where Finland potentially would be attacked, we likely only need to look at history. During the Winter War, the Soviet Union attacked the Mannerheim Line in the south, with smaller second-axis attacks coming in the north towards Petsamo, Lieksa, and Suomussalmi, Sala, Ilomantsi, and Kiti. While the borders shifted slightly since the concessions of Karelia and Petsamo, the vectors would likely look fairly similar. If the war in Ukraine has shown us anything, it is that the Russian army is highly unable to adapt their tactics and still follow the same Soviet doctrines that they always have. During the Winter War, a relatively small Finnish force held the Soviet Union's army, tanks, and aircraft for more than 3 months, while facing odds of more than 100 to 1 in aircraft, tanks, and artillery, and at least 3 to 1 in infantry. Finland knows how to deal with a bigger opponent, so let's get into how they'll likely do it. In order to fully understand what sort of undertaking it is to invade Finland, we need to understand what sort of geography is present there. Finland mostly has its cities and farmland to the south and along the coast around Helsinki, Oulu, Tampere, Jyväskylä, and Tornio. There are some towns further north and towards the border, but they're much further apart and generally sat between massive forests, lakes, and boggy terrain. While it doesn't seem like a good idea to invade Finland via their eastern border, it is likely the only avenue possible, as Finland has an enormous amount of bunkers, coastal artillery, and ground-based anti-ship systems that essentially makes a naval invasion a no-starter. To add to this, Their naval mine deployment program is one of the most developed in the world, with an estimated deployment rate of a fully effective naval mine blockade to be operational within a few days. Finland's defense force, even without full mobilization, totals over 280,000 during wartime, with close to 1 million inhabitants having received training and considered of an age where they could serve purposefully in the armed forces when mobilized. For reference, that is more trained personnel than half of the European NATO allies have in total put together. Initially, it'd be up to the 25,000 or so active military members to hold off the attack while the wartime reserve equips and gathers. Finland's strategy would be to blow up bridges and channel Russian columns into death traps like we saw during the Winter War. Each section of Finland's eastern border has designated bridges and areas where the Finnish Army trains for this exact mission, with artillerymen receiving direct training in their sector of the potential front. Speaking of artillery, Finland also has the largest artillery capability in Western Europe. It has a staggering 1,500 or more operational systems on hand for any potential escalation. Finland also has one of Europe's largest stocks of anti-tank capability, and it'd likely be small teams of ATGM squads that would be the first to make contact. These squads would be tasked with taking out the lead and last vehicle in any grouping, forcing the invader to disperse into the boggy terrain. It is what worked really well against the same kind of opponent during the Winter War, and frankly it would prove just as effective today if we judge by similar engagements in Ukraine. The Finnish Air Force would likely be the branch of Finland's defense forces that would struggle the most. Russia's Air Force outnumbers Finland's Air Force by a lot. While the F-18 is a capable airframe, it would struggle to operate in an environment against both anti-air assets and fighter jets in the numbers fielded by Russia. It is also worth noting that any missiles that would get through in the initial stages of any invasion would likely ruin any airfield that houses the F-18s, so Finland would likely scramble to get their jets in the air to intercept missiles and planes. Luckily for the Finnish Air Force, Swedish JAS-39s, Norwegian, Danish, and Polish F-35s would likely be in Finland's airspace within hours to assist. The sensible action here would likely be to utilize Swedish air bases early on to avoid Finnish planes being lost on the ground. Finland's defense ministry estimates that Finland would need to hold out for about 12 hours before considerable air support arrives from their neighbors, and a further 2 to 5 days before Norwegian, Swedish, and NATO quick reaction forces come to their aid. Judging from the preparedness of Finland's population, their overall willingness to defend their country puts them in a great position when it comes to deterring any attack. Finland's population consistently score the highest in the EU when it comes to willingness to defend their own country with 82%, and that figure is likely to have increased with the latest saber rattling from Putin. It is also worth mentioning that Finland has one of the most extensive bunker and shelter systems out of all nations on Earth, and would likely be able to live through many of the initial missile barrages without much loss of life, as the bunkers were purpose-built during the Cold War against nuclear blasts. And as with many of their fellow Nordic neighbors, they've got storage facilities stacked to the brim with food, supplies, and weapons in case of such an event. For Russia, the issue would quickly become how they defend the P-21 highway and accompanying railway lines, the only heavy-duty transportation networks that goes from St. Petersburg to Murmansk, where Russia's northern fleet and various air assets are housed. Finland is within GMLRS striking distance of this vital supply line for almost 1,000 kilometers of their shared border. Some well-aimed bunker busters would make resupplying any Russian battle groups north of Lake Ladoga a nightmare. In conclusion, if I were a Russian general, which I am glad I am not, I would be doing anything I could to stop anyone from suggesting an attack on Finland. Not only has Finland strengthened NATO's preparedness, it's increased European NATO abilities, especially when it comes to artillery and infantry by many percent. The only weakness you could potentially find is with their air force, which is quickly being upgraded to F-35s, and with the advent of the combined Nordic Air Force, is not really a weakness anymore. We're all glad to have you by our side, Finland. Before you go, I'd love to ask you to let us know of any feedback that you have in the comments. Anything you think we could improve or do really well is valuable feedback to us. Stay safe, brothers.
Wow, guys, that was really, really, really incredible. I mean, really, with all those equipment, with all those plans put in place, really, launching an attack on Finland would definitely be a badass, really. It would definitely be a mistake, and it will be a lifetime costly mistake, really. Wow. That's really incredible. Please don't forget to give me feedbacks and what you think about this video. And if you have more details about it, don't forget to put it down right there in the comment section. Plus, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss out on my next video. And I will see you again in the next video. I remain your girl.